Hello, everyone. This is Beau.
And this is Aaron.
And this is Old Games Plus. We are back at it with episode 3 of our first season, Imperfect Works, talking about what each of us consider a top 3 game.
Yeah, easily.
Xenogears.
Easily.
I would say it's my second or third favorite game of all time.
Yeah, I think I have to say the same, especially when you consider story. Like, there have hardly ever been any stories that really impacted me like it. I could probably argue another game being out on gameplay, maybe, but that'd be hard to do.
Oh, absolutely. It's my favorite story ever told in any media.
Yeah.
Ever. Period.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And one thing real quick, because if you're listening to our other show, A's Your Ages, you're going to notice that we're talking about how we've lost that emphasis of gameplay in video games, and which is just an odd thing to say.
Yeah, it really is.
It's just such an odd thing to say, but it really feels like... but anyway, one thing I do want to reiterate is if you're listening to this, if you listen to any Xenogears podcast, I think they talk about the narrative because that's what everyone wants to hear about. But one thing I do want to reiterate is we're going over the narrative because the whole point of the show, if you're just now joining us, is we talk about how a game affected us when we played it as children and how we better understand and as adults, how we better understand it, how we realize where this game's narrative sort of led us to believe certain things, to think certain things, maybe seek out certain things.
Yeah, so it's more of a we'll mention the narrative because we need you to know this moment did this thing to us or what have you, but we're not going to do like a deep breakdown of it.
Correct. Yeah, we're not going to be doing like a deep I am not going to be explaining like the deeper symbolism and everything.
Yeah, this isn't a dissertation by any means.
However, one thing I want to be perfectly clear with is if Xenogears was not fun, I would not have beaten it when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
A video game's first duty is to be fun to play.
Yeah.
So if anyone is accusing us of being a little hypocritical with how we speak on A's Your Ages and how we speak here, because we're speaking purely the narrative, understand this show is not focused on the gameplay, but understand that if Xenogears was not a brilliantly made video game in all of its aspects, we would not be talking about it. I am not willing to YouTube a game. I'm not.
Yeah. Xenogears did the classic, what is now classic, like PlayStation Japanese RPG thing. It did it amazingly. You have your turn-based combat. You've got your
with an original system, like a system that you could not find in others. It wasn't just simply picking something.
Yeah, see, that's what I was going to get at. Is like it did the turn-based combat. You had your different characters were kind of different, like class archetypes. You had your random battles, mini games, stuff like that. But Xenogears added in these cool little twists to it that, like something like Final Fantasy VII, just for example, didn't have. You know, you had where you could pick how your characters attacked, like their actual combo.
You could gain weight.
You could gain weight.
You could have Faye eat a bunch at the festival and gain weight, and that would actually affect.
It would make you hit harder but move slower.
Yeah, and
or you could lose weight, and the reverse would happen.
Yeah, his sprite doesn't change.
No,
it's not like San Andreas.
No,
but,
that would have been asking a bit much. But yeah, no, and like it does all that. It does that great JRPG feel, but it adds in these unique flavors to it, which made the game just, especially at the time, you have to look at it through the lens of history kind of thing. So like you're playing this game and you're used to other Japanese RPGs that are like the Final Fantasies and whatnot. And so you know the formula, but then you realize that, holy crap, I can rotate the camera? I can jump on this bed or jump up this wall? Like,
and we covered that. We covered this. So like we are talking about the game in this. It's just there's not a lot of time. We're trying to get through it.
But that's what makes it really makes the gameplay fun.
So having said all that, today's episode covers precious little gameplay.
Yes,
there's a lot of story.
Funnily enough, most of it is world building.
So when we last left off, and I want to apologize for kind of going too hard. It's just I really want people to understand that Xenogears, the point of Xenogears is not religion bad. I don't want people to walk away with it because when Groff talks about killing God, we talked about that was very jarring for us as children. Not because it offended us, but because we were like, whoa, that is capital G God.
Yeah, and it was a new thing to hear.
So that's... he does, but thematically we explored that Groff doesn't mean like he means in the game world absolutely that they're going to kill God in that
Yeah.
game world. He does not, however, what the game is saying through Groff is not to literally kill God.
Yeah,
it's the
game-
Nietzschean concept of rising above your need for God.
Yeah,
rising
but-
above your need for a religion. And
But even in the game's like quote unquote message is not to follow Nietzsche's teachings. It's not telling you to abandon your God or whatever.
When we get to the end of the game, we're going to see that the whole point to this game was if religion enriches you as a person, go for it.
Yep.
If it is something that you were just responded to being forced upon, or if you, or worse yet, you're forcing it upon others, that's a bad thing.
Yep.
The human will is a very, very central concept. And again, we told you we're not going to do a dissertation. This is not us understanding this as philosophy majors or as professors of philosophy. This is us understanding it as two blue-collar dudes who grew up playing games made by some of the most brilliant minds in Japan.
Yeah. Easily.
I'm so conscious of my peas right now because Adam is all over us about the way the peas pop in our. So guys, if you know what, maybe you guys are a fan of the Donram pea popping. Maybe oh my gosh, we should have a T-shirt.
Oh God.
Donram popping peas.
We need somebody to draw a cartoon version of your face for that.
Like, I just imagine one of those like president caricatures, like Teddy Roosevelt with the oversized cowboy.
It has to be like it has to be like one of those president caricatures with you like yelling into a mic with spit flying around it. Because if you're going to do a caricature, go crazy with it. None of that happens in real life, but it would look great on the shirt.
Lesser Metal would buy that.
Yeah.
I think no. You know what, Lesser Metal, you would have to buy it. We'll send you one, buddy. We will send you one. I asked him the other day in a private message if he wanted to go by Lesser Metal or by his real name.
Oh yeah.
Because we all know his real name. He's our buddy. He's legitimately our buddy. He's the original Donram fan, and it was funny because I expected him to be like, yeah, my first name's fine, but he was like, nah, use Lesser Metal, which it's fine, bud. I'm very happy to do that. We always want to mention you and make you feel loved.
I'm gonna call him only by his proper first name, Lesser.
Lesser.
So, thank you, Lesser. Or should I say Mr. Metal?
Mr. Metal. Oh my gosh. Yeah, from now on it's Mr. Metal on the show. So anyway, Groff gives his little spiel about killing God, and then he's like, but you know what? You're not ready to yet. So after all that,
after all that, he's then like, you're actually kind of weak, bro.
He's like, so do you desire the power? This is going to be a thing with Groff. He asks if people desire the power, but he's like, hang on. I want to test you first. I want to know how much power to dip out, all right? Because my daddy always said you dipped it, you ate it, bud.
You got to see what you can
That's
handle.
the way it's going to be. So we're going to see what you can handle. And because this is a science fiction narrative taking place, at least partially in the desert, there's a sandworm somewhere.
Of course.
And, Aaron, I've been curious as I've been thinking about recording this episode. Is there some sort of perennial source for the sandworm in science fiction? Is there some sort of did someone do that first?
Oh, if only we could trace the popularity of the sandworm back to a singular source.
I know what it is. Tim Burton's dark comedy classic Beetlejuice in 1989. That's where it came from.
That really hurts me. I like that movie, but that hurts me.
What's funny is like I am not a Tim Burton fan by any stretch of the word. I do think Nightmare Before Christmas is a beautifully made movie.
Yeah,
it is an incredibly made movie.
I like a couple of his movies
because the fact that it was legit stop motion, claymation is just incredible. I think we went to high school between 2001 and 2005, and I think we just were overexposed.
That was a rough year, rough time to be around people who like Tim Burton stuff.
But Beetlejuice, I think it's still one of my favorite movies of all time. I love Beetlejuice.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Anyway,
but no. So
he summons a sandworm.
He summons a sandworm.
It's not a very difficult boss fight.
It's not. However, it is one of the most annoying things in the world. In my opinion,
it can siphon your fuel, can't it?
That's basically all it does. Is it drinks your freaking gas.
And fuel in this game, you need that to do moves, and you have to waste an entire turn to recover like 30 fuel.
Yeah, Charging only gives you 30, and your heavy attack uses 30. So, like, your gears burn fuel like crazy if you try and go all out with them. You have to be really conscious of how you fight in your gears, especially in tough boss fights. Otherwise, you just run out of fuel.
We're gonna find out something later in the game too that makes it where the fuel system makes no sense.
Yeah,
they had to do something though. I get it, but anyway, you take down the sandworm.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you've managed to finally defeat this stupid worm. It dies. Groff is pieced out.
He's seen all he needs to see.
Yeah. He's gotten what he's wanted
got
for
his
the
data.
time being. So he leaves, and unfortunately, as is a running theme within the start of the game, Faye broke Waltall again. He's just fighting too hard with it, blows its knee out.
Did we even cover the fact that Satan got the parts to get it running?
He never went and got parts, I don't think.
Well, I mean, he somehow got it running. Did we cover that? Satan somehow got Waltall running.
Yeah, we mentioned that last time, how Satan shows up it just in time with it, because Satan brings it so Faye can fight the Ave patrol.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you're broke down in the desert again.
Yeah. Common, really big problem with this gear. It's unreliable, cheap quality gear. And as Faye and Satan are kind of starting to wonder what they're going to do, all of a sudden, great, here comes another Ave patrol, and they get arrested.
They had a couple open containers in Weltall.
Yeah,
and
they were piloting without license.
they're going in, and so my favorite part of the prison ship,
Mm-hmm.
my favorite part is the very beginning of the prison ship. Faye's asleep.
Yeah, he's just
and
chilling.
Satan, I don't know, it's ESP or he actually physically goes somewhere.
Yeah,
but we see him in a strange room with paintings floating around it,
and the sound of a ticking clock.
A ticking clock, and there is a big old ugly dude sitting on a throne.
Yeah, he very like I don't even know how to describe
Not
it.
Jabba.
No,
not quite Jabba.
He's not like fat like Jabba is. It's much more like
I'm trying to think of
desecrated and just
like
with machines and like I don't know. He's
actually really
he's
not
fugly.
Not totally unlike the 40K Emperor of Mankind. Not totally unlike that.
Very similar concept.
Extremely similar.
Big,
well,
big dude.
We'll find out it's a way different. No. Anyway,
it is it's this dude with a bunch of machines hooked up to him.
And Satan is referring to him as Your Majesty.
Yes.
And this is the only person Satan seems to show deference to.
Mm-hmm.
And Satan, and basically the guy's asking, like, are you keeping an eye on him?
Mm-hmm.
How's it going?
Yeah, he wants a status report.
Is he calling him the contact at this point?
No, he
okay, disregard that, listeners.
They just completely it's 100% like ambiguous where he's like,
this isn't one of the ones where they're throwing out proper nouns.
Yeah, no,
okay.
He's just like, how's it going?
As Don brilliantly said.
Mm-hmm. And Satan's like, yeah, no, I'm checking it. We're good. And His Majesty, as Satan calls him, he mentions how that's good, because the time is upon us. That's about the only thing he does.
Oh yeah,
say.
he says the time is upon us,
Mm-hmm.
and he leaves. Like he kind of like fades out.
Yeah.
And Satan's left standing there alone, and Satan is like, could it really be the time of the gospel?
Mm-hmm.
And when he says of the gospel, he has a capital G, which interestingly enough, I believe that this reference to the gospel is the only directly Christian reference we get in the game. Because everything else is biblical, but it's strictly Old Testament.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any other, because we don't have a definitive Christ figure in this game.
No. But the only other thing I think one could argue as specifically Christian is some of the names of characters we're told later on. His Majesty's real name.
Yeah, but again, that's Old Testament, so that's Hebrew. That could be just
that
Jewish.
That is technically Old Testament.
It's just that's something common to all Abrahamic religions.
Yeah.
So see, that's what I'm saying is
that might actually be the only.
I think that's the only
like New Testament
100% Christian reference in the game. But anyway. Which kudos to this development team for making a game full of biblical allusions and not having a direct Christ allusion.
Yeah.
Because I still remember seeing that in the Matrix, and it just ruined the whole thing for me.
I just now thought about it. There may not be a Christ figure in the game, but there sure is a moment where there's a reference to Christ later in the game.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And we'll get to that as we go. But. So anyway, Faye wakes up. So Satan's back in the real world, sitting in this cell. And it's important to note that I don't know if Satan was communicating through ESP or if he left. And that's important to note because I don't know whether or not Satan could have just gotten up and walked out of that cell at any point.
Yeah, it's like his status is so ambiguous that there's really no way of telling if he has this like weird ability to do contact or if it's more of a like he's just got the permission to do whatever he wants and he's playing this game. Like we have no idea.
The point is that Satan is answering to someone.
Yes.
That we know of so far.
Yeah.
So anyway, Faye and Satan agree. They got to find a way out of here, but they just don't see one, man.
Yep.
They just don't see one. And right about this time,
we travel away from them.
We meet the most radical character in the game.
Easily the most 90s character.
So we go over and we're on the bridge of a ship of some kind.
Yeah, it seems like a submarine.
They are acting as though it's a submarine. There is a tan fellow with long gray hair with an eye patch, and he seems to be the first mate.
Yeah.
And then we see the captain, and he has an eye patch on the other eye. So let's break this guy down. Have we broken him down yet?
Not in appearance or anything like that, because he hasn't appeared yet.
He's got long blonde hair that's in a braided ponytail. That's important.
Yeah, but he still lets like all the front hang down.
A black jacket that
it's red.
Well, a red jacket that only goes down to his forearms. Fingerless gloves.
Yep.
The eye patch again, because that's important.
Yeah, opposite eye.
And his dialogue suggests that he would have the New York Italian accent if the 4Kids Entertainment made a translation of this anime.
Yeah, he would have definitely had a Brooklyn accent.
Definitely would have had a Brooklyn accent, or like it's Brooklyn or Sebastian Bach. It would be one of the two.
Yeah. Honestly, I always imagine this guy as what would happen if Ken from Street Fighter was thrown onto a different planet.
Absolutely. He's very Ken.
It's the same, like, attitude.
Like the Ken we pictured when we were kids.
Yeah.
Because when you find out later, like, Ken's got a wife and a kid and everything.
Yeah,
like, you find that out in later.
Yeah, he's
Street
actually
Fighter
quite
games.
responsible.
He's quite a responsible fellow, but, like, he was a radical guy with blonde hair, like
long blonde hair.
Party shit. Anyway.
Yeah.
This guy's very full of himself, very braggy.
Yeah, very confident seeming.
And he sees a gear on that Ava ship that he wants. And he's like, I'm gonna get it because we're sand pirates. And
this is what we
do. We take things from Ava that's on their sand ships. Because we're pirates. I want you all to understand, everyone at home, everyone on this bridge. I know that we do this every day, that we're pirates, but I want to let everyone know one more time, we're pirates.
We are sand pirates.
Right. It's not just normal pirates. You find them out of the water. The losers.
Yeah.
We're on sand.
Yeah, it's abrasive.
This is why Anakin won't join our crew. Oh,
Ding.
So we've met Bart, and I'm pretty sure he's involved in piracy of some kind.
Yeah, definitely seems to be, especially since he sees a innocent ship on the sand. And he's like, shoot it.
And Bart shooting things is going to be a major theme in this game.
It's a reoccurring issue, I think.
So anyway, he hits the ship, and this ship does not go down easy. It is sinking in the most horrific manner possible, and Faye and Titan see their chance to escape, so they escape. And my favorite part is there's still random encounters. So there's still soldiers that are fighting for their lives to get out of here, but they're like, wait a minute, a prisoner escaped. You know what?
I always imagine like there's this like scene where this Ave soldier is trying desperately to close like a bulkhead against the sand, and he turns and looks just in time for Faye to like freaking bicycle kick him in the face. And he's just confused and scared.
So you're trying to get out of the ship, fighting for your life, and Titan's like, hey, you know what? We need to make sure we don't leave without Weltall.
Yeah. He's like, Faye, go get in the gear. I'll move the crane for you, buddy.
And Faye, of course, is like, he does his normal protest of not wanting to get in the gear, and Titan just shuts it down this time. Titan is like, get in it.
Yeah. Yeah, like, Faye's like, what? He's like, you want me to walk on the crane and get in that damn thing? And Titan's like, yeah. Go do it.
And it's funny because, like, of course, there's no voice acting in this game, but the dialogue is perfectly translated, and it's just and there are mistakes in the translation of this game, of course.
Yeah.
But I think this was the best translated game of its time. And,
easily.
Richard Honeywood, the guy that translated this game mostly by himself, had a literal record of text in this game. So. If you see him in person anywhere, just kiss him on the mouth because he deserves it.
Our understanding of how to properly translate Japanese entertainment into English has definitely come a long way, but Xenogears was still ahead of its time in that field.
Absolutely
Like,
ahead of its time,
it was
especially when you compare
well
it to
done.
what came before.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially like you look at the RPGs that are on like the Super Nintendo and stuff, and some of their translations were just hokey as all
You
get out.
spoony bard
Yeah.
from Final Fantasy 2, which they didn't even number them right.
Yeah.
When they
Yeah, because like isn't like
Final Fantasy 2 is actually Final Fantasy 4.
Yeah, and isn't
Because we skipped 2, 3, and 5.
Yeah,
So we got when 4 came over, we called it 2, and when 6 came over, we called it 3.
and wasn't the American Final Fantasy actually a Dragon Quest game or something?
No.
I could have sworn I remember hearing something
What
like
you're
that.
probably thinking of is when we brought Dragon Quest over here, a pen and paper RPG already had the Dragon Quest name trademarked, so over here, so they had to call it Dragon Warrior.
Oh yeah, maybe that's what I was thinking.
But no,
then.
Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy. We just got it 3 years too
Yeah.
late. But anyway,
Yeah,
so the site is basically like, no, this is what's going on,
Yeah.
and you're going to do it. And Faye gets into Weltall, and
Scoop's sighting up, and they jump clear of the ship.
they jump clear of the ship, but the submarine has surfaced
Mm-hmm.
on the sand.
Yeah, and there's a red gear confronting Flay at this point.
Flay.
Well, I mean, he uses whips, so it's close enough. There's a red gear confronting Faye.
Yes.
Um,
And he is like, I want that gear.
yeah, he's
And-
like, give me that gear, and Faye's like, no.
Yeah, and Faye's like, you know what? Anybody else,
Yeah,
I would have done this because I want to get rid of it.
I don't like your attitude.
But you know what? You're making me do it, and now I don't want to.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
100% all Bart's fault because all he would have had to have done was not be like a cocky jerk.
And it's really funny because this is kind of like a male pissing contest.
It really is because
Yeah.
like Bart insists that Faye works for Ave because Faye came off of an Ave ship. Faye's like, "Will you listen
it was
to
a
me?"
prison
Yeah.
ship.
Yeah, and Faye's like, "Dude, listen to me," and Bart's like, "Nah, man, I'm gonna hit you with a whip." Like,
So you have a boss fight with Bart. He
Yeah.
uses Wild Smile way too much, which is a
Yes.
status affecting move. And
Yeah, it's,
as any 5-year-old that plays Pokemon can tell you, don't use status affecting
yeah,
moves.
do
Just
not
hit them.
spam them
Just hit them.
Yeah.
Like, because I can remember being like 5 and
because
every
it
time.
does like 2 damage too. It's nothing.
Yeah. So anyway, wouldn't you know it? This just happens to be a part of sand that doesn't have anything else under it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you fall through.
in the whole desert. You fall in the one quicksand spot.
Another reason why Anakin hates sand.
Yeah.
You can't trust it.
Yeah, it gets everywhere and it just does that to you.
So you fall in, and they have the whole "I don't like you and you don't like me," and Bart's like, "I kind of like you.
Yeah, and Faye's like, I don't like you.
I don't like you. So let's just get out of here. We got to work out." And I think one of them even mentions like, "Why don't we just jump out?" And the other one's like, "Nah,
Yeah, Faye
it's not
is
a good reason you can't."
Yeah, Faye. I think it's Faye. He does something. He's like, "Can we just like jump out of here?" And Bart's like, "Dude, like really? We just fell like 200 feet. We're not jumping."
So
Although Faye does talk him into pushing a big boulder out of the way in a minute, so that's kind of cool, I guess.
So this is what by this point the most expansive dungeon you've encountered in this game.
And it's your very first gear dungeon.
And I remember thinking like I'm finally playing a JRPG when I was a kid. Like I'm
Yeah.
finally playing a game like Final Fantasy VII. I'm finally playing a game that I'm used to.
Yeah,
Encountering.
it gives you this underground cave system. It does give you that little bit of a taste of JRPG normalcy,
And it's a gear dungeon.
which
And
is both cool and bad at the same time.
One thing that took me forever to find out as a kid, and I'd forgotten by the time I played it as an adult,
Mhm.
but it was way quicker to find out as an adult, is the way you heal
yeah,
yourself and the way you refuel in a gear dungeon
Mhm.
is there is an enemy that appears,
Mhm.
and it's a repair gear.
yeah,
And it took me forever to realize because I would just kill everything.
yeah.
I would just
tap
kill everything.
like crazy.
But if you just sit around and wait, like you refuel and he comes over and his attacks heal you
Mhm.
because and the idea is, and when I was a kid, I was just like, oh, this is a dumb enemy.
yeah,
This is a dumb enemy. He doesn't know what he's doing. But as an adult, I kind of pieced together that this is just some derelict mining machine that was
Yeah.
supposed to repair the other mining machines, and its programming hasn't been redone, and
Yeah.
it's just been abandoned down there.
yeah, and it's just kind of just wandering around doing
Right.
its thing. The only thing that really sucks in this cave dungeon is this one particular random enemy you get, and it looks like a gear with a giant mosquito for a head.
Oh yeah,
It's like it's a mayfly is what they call it. If
Yep.
I remember right, and it is. I hate that thing because for no reason, this random encounter hits so hard and has so much health. Like it.
Oh, yeah.
It is literally the only thing in that dungeon to like fear, especially if you haven't bothered to level or anything like that.
but you'll get to a point where you can grind them, and they're
Yes.
very good for grinding.
Yeah.
And that point is you come across a shack. There's a shack here.
Yeah, and it's in the coolest part of the caves too, because it's this area with like these like moon pools and stuff from where the water is seeped down and pooled. It's really cool looking.
So
But it's very Yoda-esque too.
you decide to find out who's in the shack. And much like Yoda, it's a short little man that seems to know a lot more than he's letting on.
Yeah, this old dude.
And basically, you show up and he's like, "Oh, you got gears? I can repair gears."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I'll take a look at gears." And then he has this odd display in his house. And it's a fossil record.
Yeah.
And he's like, and this is one of my favorite parts of the game because I remember being a kid and being like, "What?" And as an adult, it just kind of makes me chuckle. But what it is, he's like, "Yeah, did you guys know that humans don't appear in the fossil record until 10,000 years ago?" And Bart's like, "Duh, we evolved from something else." And he's like, "Nope. Nope, just a hard, like, there's nothing
Hard
to
line.
suggest. There's nothing to suggest that we evolved from anything.
Yeah.
We just sort of pop in as we are 10,000 years ago."
Here we are.
And my favorite part of the dialogue is he's like, "I don't believe all that baloney the church is feeding me about evolution." So the church in this world is and he's the college professor that refused to teach. Refused to teach. Look,
It's this weird role reversal.
yes, it's like atheists are like, "We won't believe your evolution," and the church is like, "No, like, guys, we have peer-reviewed data."
Yeah, it's here.
Listen
Like,
to
look, wink, wink.
So, and he tells you this odd story about how God created humans.
Yep.
But the humans thirsted for the knowledge of God and rebelled against him.
Yep.
And fought against him. And God was wounded, not killed, but wounded.
Yep.
And humans were cast out of paradise that day.
Yeah. And then
So-
that's supposedly when we appeared on this
And
planet.
that's supposedly when we appeared on the planet 10,000 years ago. And so that's kind of an odd. It's kind of an odd Eden story because it implies violence on the part of the humans. It implies that there
partially
was
successful violence too, which is odd.
It implies that we were somehow mad at God.
Yeah.
And whereas in the actual Eden story, because I remember when I was a kid, I was like, okay, in actual Eden, they were very ashamed of their actions. They were like sneaking around, like trying to hide from God.
Yeah.
But in this, they had to go through God to get to the knowledge.
Yeah, it's almost as if humanity's role and Lucifer's role is combined in this backstory.
Exactly. Yeah, it's almost as it, and so it's a very odd telling, and Bart is literally like, okay, just prepare our gears. Like, I'm not here for this. Like, I'm not going to listen to this nonsense that we didn't evolve. Like, that is the way my parents taught me. That is the way their parents taught them. I'm not going to listen to this blasphemy about creationism. All right.
He's also like, I got no time for this. I got beers waiting on me, bro.
Bartweisers, baby.
You can actually buy one later.
Yes, you could have yourself a nice cold Bartweiser, and
It makes
so
you gain weight too.
yeah. So anyway, he goes out and he does repair the gears, but he comes in rattled.
Yeah, he is extremely shocked by Waltall.
Doesn't like what he saw, and he's like, "That is the Slayer of God." And Faye's like, "Ugh."
Yeah. Faye instantly is like, what?
Yeah, it's like, and so it's clear that Faye's trying to forget about Groff.
Yeah.
He's trying to forget that was told to him, but now he's being reminded of it. And Balthazar, he calls himself Balthazar.
Yeah.
Which is another biblical reference. It's not actually, well, it's not a biblical reference because he does. Oh wait, that is another Christian reference. The three wise men.
Yeah.
But the Bible doesn't actually name the three wise men. I believe tradition names them.
Yeah, I was about to say they're not they're not named.
I don't even think they're called like the three magi or the three wise men. I think it's just dudes. I think they're just dudes that show up. No, I think they're kings or something. But
I'd
anyway,
have to. Yeah, I'd
have to look at it. But
that's been revised so many times. There's no telling.
my
what it
mother-in-law
says.
could probably tell me straight off from memory.
Yeah.
So that's. So his name's Balthazar, and he's explaining that that's the Slayer of God. Faye's like, no, it's not. It's just well tall. It's no big deal, bro.
Yeah, it's just a gear,
no
bro.
big deal. It doesn't have this sort of like hidden ability that made me lose everything I had. And Bart is oddly silent. You'd expect Bart to be like, "Whoa, the Slayer of God!"
I honestly think Bart was way too busy admiring his gear. Like,
oh yeah,
I honestly think that's what it is. I think he was too busy like checking himself out in the mirror to care.
Like Johnny Bravo, he walks by the mirror. Whoa, baby. The Johnny Bravo. If any of you haven't watched Johnny Bravo, do yourself a favor, find that on whatever it's streaming on, and watch the heck out of it.
It's so good.
So anyway, you get back, and he's basically like, "Look, you guys got to get out of here. You're welcome to come back and like rest and repair your gears, but you got to get out of here."
He's like, "I gotta go."
Basically, they narratively want him to seem nervous and pushing you away.
Yep.
But the game's also like, go ahead and grind here. It's okay.
Yeah.
And
It lets you grind there until you do a particular thing.
So anyway, he explains that there is a way out of here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a way out of here, and he wants you to use it because he wants you gone.
Yep.
And it's some mineshaft thing. You go do the mineshaft thing. It's not really like I don't remember that impacting me as a kid. I don't remember it impacting me as an adult.
You just have to go turn off some sensors and walk through a door.
So you go and you do that, and a gear attacks you on your way out.
Yeah, real fat gear.
It's a really fat gear with these two huge rockets on its back, and it just take note of it. Its name is Calamity. Just take note of the way this gear is designed and the way it moves and everything.
And it's a decent fight. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but it's a decent fight.
It's not the hardest thing in the world. It's not the easiest.
The weird thing with it, though, is when you defeat it, it just gets right back up. And, obviously Bart and Faye are both blown away because how could this gear just get up?
And out of nowhere, Faye seems to unlock some combo.
Mm-hmm.
And it's extreme. Bart is blown away.
Yeah,
Faye's like, I have no idea what I did.
Yeah, Bart's mad at him because he's like, if you had this power, why didn't you use it earlier, bro?
And he's like, I don't know. And he's also like, and we're not that familiar yet. Remember, we don't like each other. So anyway, that sort of passes. So Bart's like, wow, this guy's awesome. And Faye's like, who, this is all going back to Faye being like, who, it's more identity crisis for Faye.
It really is because he just did something
he
didn't
did
know
it
how
expertly,
to do.
But he doesn't know how he did it.
Yeah, and it was something well beyond his normal technique.
So you get out of there, and the Yggdrasil is on its way to pick you up.
Yep.
You can see the Capitol from where you're standing. It's actually kind of a pretty little shot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool looking because it's up like the Capitol's up on like a almost like its own mountain peak.
It's like
in
a
the
plateau.
Desert. Yeah.
A mesa?
I think that's what they're called. Yeah.
We're from Indiana.
Yeah, I'm not a geologist.
I'm not a geologist. I have never.
Wait, geologist doesn't. It'd be a. Is it? See, I don't even know if it would be a geologist.
It's topography. I don't know. I mean, it's made of rock, so I'm sure a geologist would be interested in it.
They would know.
Like
they would know what to call it at least. Right?
I would call you a poor geologist if you didn't know what to call it. I don't know that it's part of your job, but I'm not. I don't trust you to do your job.
I'm still judging you on that.
I've never been to the desert. It's one of my father's favorite places to visit, which is odd because he likes cold weather, but he loves the desert.
Yeah, probably the openness of it.
I think so. My dad's a big motorcycle rider. Him and my mom go all over the country. I've never once ridden a motorcycle.
They are really fun until you wreck, and then they're not fun. Learn that from experience.
So the Yggdrasil comes to pick you up. That's what that submarine's called. It's the Yggdrasil. Yep. It's a sand cruiser. It can dive. It basically navigates the sand like a submarine navigates water.
Yeah.
And that guy with the other eye patch on the other eye, him and Sighton are talking because they just sort of left after they fell in.
Yeah.
And they're talking, and this guy, his name is Sigurd, and he knows Sighton.
Yeah,
they're very familiar.
Yeah, they're like old chums.
But he's not calling him Sighton. He's calling him Hyuga.
Which, what?
And he's like, how long have you been down here? And it's clear that they're surprised. Well, it's clear that he's surprised to see Sighton.
Yeah.
We have no indication that Sighton is surprised to see him at all.
Yeah, Sighton's just like, ah.
And
don't worry about it,
they're
buddy.
and it's clear they're from the same area.
Yeah.
And that area is not a little shack north of Lahan.
No, they're definitely wherever they are from. It's the same place, and they've known each other for a long time.
And so, anyway, they pick up Faye and Bart, and Bart's like, "I'm going to take you to my secret hideout, bro." And Bart is just in love with Faye.
Yeah,
like, he has got a dude crush on Faye. He wants this bromance to happen, and Faye is just clearly uncomfortable with Bart.
Yeah, Faye, like, he does not talk for like the next 20 minutes of the game.
So you get to Bart's secret hideout, and it's kind of cool. You could explore a little bit. And my favorite part of Bart's hideout is on his room. There's a sign that says Bart's room, keep out or else, or something along those lines.
It's literally that. And if you click on it, your options are just give up or go in anyways. Like,
you could go in anyway, and I think there's a whip for Bart in there.
Yeah, there's a new whip for him. There's a picture of Bart and some girl Faye comments on it, being like, "I wonder who this chick is."
Yeah.
And then you can accidentally set his alarm clock off, which is just funny.
Bart definitely refers to women as chicks.
Yes, 100%.
Like when he's being serious, when he's being fun,
Yeah.
like at all points, like he definitely says chick. And the more we talk about Bart, the more I like the Sebastian Bach voice for him.
Yeah.
For you kids listening at home, Sebastian Bach was the lead singer of Skid Row and is the most stereotypical hair metal personality of all time. Aaron and I have had the pleasure of seeing Sebastian Bach perform live, not with Skid Row, but he was solo. But I mean, let's face it, it's Sebastian Bach. He knows what we want to see. He's going to play all the Skid Row songs, and he miraculously turned night into day and day into night. Which is a running joke in our friend group because Sebastian Bach did not realize what time of day it was while he was on stage.
Yeah, he just kept switching.
He said it was a beautiful night when it was clearly late afternoon.
Yeah. And then once it was nightfall, he was talking about how great of a day it was. Like he was just altering the fundamental laws of physics before our eyes.
He's an odd duck.
Yeah.
He's an odd duck.
Very.
But yeah, I'm imagining Bart was... anyway, Bart asked Faye, he's like, look, dude, I've got something I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love... It would be so rad, bro. It would be totally tubular if you would help me do it. And Faye goes, no.
Yep. And it's all because... I personally think it's all because of the particular phrasing that Bart uses. Because he's talking about... He's like, yeah, man, you could totally help me out. It'd be so cool. I could definitely use your power.
That's right.
And Faye's just like, this thing with power.
Yeah, as a kid, I remember thinking the same thing that all the Ava fans, all the American Ava fans say about Shinji. But as I get older, it's like, it's clear, like, I wouldn't want to be used for my power either.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want a world of fighting after I'd been through extreme trauma either. It is perfectly reasonable that Faye is responding the way he does. And Bart, on some level, understands this.
Yeah.
Sigurd definitely understands it.
Mm-hmm.
And Seitan just finds it kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird because, like, Faye, like, when we were young, like, my first playthrough of Xenogears, I did not like Faye for a little while.
It's like, what's your problem, bro?
Yeah, just do the thing.
Just do the thing.
Why
like,
are you
you're the main character.
Yeah, why are you crying about getting into a giant robot? That would be so cool.
Yeah, that would be wicked.
But, like...
As an adult, you really...
Oh, it makes perfect sense because, like, take away even, like, the existential crisis thing. Let's say you have had a super hard day, like a super hard week, and, like, everything goes the wrong way. You take your trash out, the bag breaks. You get in your car, it won't start. You
get in a robot to save your village, and you kill every single person you've ever known.
You know, whatever it is. And then you're having this day, and things are kind of starting to quiet down again, but you're still stressed out. And then you're worrying because you put on your shirt inside out, and you're hoping no one notices. And it's just one of those kind of things. And someone's like, "Yo, dude, your shirt's inside out," and you just have this moment where you're like, "I fucking know my shirt's in." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like,
yeah.
That's times 1,000 is what Faye is doing, because his thing is like he literally doesn't even know who the hell he is anymore, and people keep bugging him about it.
And he's starting to encounter people who do.
Yes.
And they won't tell him.
Yeah, he keeps finding out more and more that people know more than he does about him. And as someone who has grown up with my memory, and I haven't, like, developed amnesia or anything like that, I can't even begin to imagine just how, like, hard, like, not even hard, just how confusing that would be.
Right.
And frustrating, you know? And, like, but I wasn't able to appreciate that as a kid. I was like, dude, robot, get in.
So Faye makes this perfectly reasonable decision not to help Bart.
Yes.
And the next 30 minutes of this game is everyone basically being like, Faye,
you should do the thing.
You should do this. We understand, but we're also going to shame you.
Yeah. My favorite part of it is when Sigurd goes to Faye. And this happens a little bit later, but Sigurd, like, doubles down on it. And the way he does it is literally the most rub-your-face way in it possible.
Look at everyone refers to Bart as young master for some reason.
Yeah.
He's clearly the youngest person there, but everyone's extremely loyal to him for some reason.
Yeah, directly to him and him alone.
We don't know why, but they all refer to him as young master. Mm-hmm. And Bart has a thing about Ava. He wants to go after Ava for some reason. But anyway, so Sigurd's like, the young master over there?
Mm-hmm.
The burden he carries. You couldn't imagine the burden he carries. You who have seen slaughter and trauma and don't even know who you are. You can't understand what the... You who pilots the Slayer of God. You can't understand... Oh, these lines are crazy. R.I.P. headphone users.
Yeah.
Wow. But... So... and you're right. That happens a little bit later.
Yeah. That happens after, like, this small event that happened. It's not like... I mean, it's a big event to the characters. It's not really a big event to the game.
So, but before this, Mason, he's a butler. He's a very butler-looking person.
Super, I imagine, super
English.
posh English accent.
Super posh English, trained at Buckingham Palace, if there were such a thing.
Yeah.
It's also, everyone's extremely loyal to Bart, and he clearly has a butler. So, figure that out.
Yeah.
Noodle that one for a minute. He offers them some tea, and he's like, I just want to chat with you boys, Citan and Faye, and we'll have some tea. And Citan's like, oh, your famous tea. And Faye's like, how do you know about his tea?
Yeah. Like, Faye's just sitting there like, there's more crap I don't know about. This is fantastic. No, I'm not going to drink this damn tea.
I really would have wanted the tea to be the breaking point. Like, I really would have wanted that.
He just, like, throws the mug down
He
the
just
floor.
grabs Citan by the neck, and he's like, I'm not going a step further until I know what you know about the tea.
It would have been so good if Faye literally lost it like that.
So, anyway, they go to a bar, and he's serving the tea, and there's this weird animation where, like, they didn't have enough money to make the Sprite actually pick up the tea kettle.
Yeah.
So the tea kettle just kind of floats around. And,
he turns to it, and then it floats and pours.
And Mason, I believe, explains who Bart really is, doesn't he?
Yeah. So Citan,
because
Citan like woos it out of him.
Yeah, because Citan is asking these leading questions, and what I love about these leading questions, Citan knows.
Yeah, he probably
already
does.
knows.
He has to,
but he wants you to tell him.
Yeah, and so like Mason's like, oh, I can't tell the story. He's like, I'm sorry, and Citan's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get in your business, but like, I'm just curious,
I'm
bro.
just curious what would lead Bart to piracy.
Yeah,
that's so terrible.
Yeah, and like he'll do that kind of stuff. He's like, oh yeah, piracy. That's so weird for him. Like, why would he do that? Like, what happened to his parents? Who were his parents? Oh, you mean the church in Nissan? Like, he knows them. Like, how does he know them? And Mason's like, I don't want to tell you this. And Bart's like, it's just scientific curiosity, bro. And Mason's, yeah. And Citan's just like, Mason's just like, well, I mean, science has something to do with this, I'm sure. I'll tell you, because at his heart, Mason is a freaking gabber and wants to tell everything.
Oh, absolutely. So you find out that Bart is the prince.
Yeah.
Of Ava.
I guess technically former prince, dethroned prince.
Yeah, he is the exiled prince of Ava. And a despot named Shakan killed his father.
Yes.
Drove him out. And the Holy Mother of Nissan, Margaret, I don't know. They call her Margie.
Yeah.
She is currently being held at Ava.
And she just so happens to be Bart's cousin.
She's Bart's cousin, and that's going to get weird later.
Yeah.
That's going to get weird later, but it's Bart's cousin, and Bart's mission right now, what he wants to do right now, his immediate goal right now is to save her.
Yes, that's all he cares about. At this point in time, he doesn't even want to take the throne.
Yeah, he wants to get her safe. That is his ultimate goal, and Faye's starting to see a little bit of nobility in this guy. And Citan is just like, oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating, quite fascinating.
He's like, good, this is good like the tea, yes.
So anyway, nightfall comes, and wouldn't you know it,
yeah,
the Gabler forces that are in Ava's employ know exactly where this base is.
Yeah.
And they perform a hit. They're in these really great Gabler gears.
Yeah. Yeah, one of them's a giant drill because they drilled their way into the base.
Yes, they bored their way into the base, and nothing's going to go right.
No.
They're going to absolutely stop everything. But Weltall's repaired.
Yeah, it's good.
Weltall's good. And so the air raid siren goes off, and Bart's like, hey, you got to help us. And Faye's still a little hesitant, but then it turns out they're going to kill you too, Faye.
Yeah, but Faye still refuses at this point, too.
Yes, he still refuses even at this point.
He's refusing it.
And Citan is like,
fine.
Do you guys got a gear I could use? And there's the wild Bronco of gears.
Yes, they actually call it that.
Yep.
They actually describe it that way.
It is bucked off every rider. No one can tame it.
Actually,
you described it best. They're kind of playing it up like tall geese.
Yes.
And Gundam Wing.
Yes, and I just had thought about that. Yeah, so like the mechanic, Bart's gear mechanic talks about how it's too powerful, and it's put 5 men in the hospital just for trying to pilot it because its power output's just uncontrollable, right? And Sigurd is the one who ends up calming him down.
Because Sigurd's like, bro, it's not even gonna.
Yeah,
Trust me.
Yeah, Sigurd's like, it's not going to be enough for him. And then,
like, not only can he handle it, but he's going to get out of it and be like, so where do you keep the men's gears?
Yeah, exactly. But like, what's best is they give this huge speech basically about how it's too powerful of a gear, it's uncontrollable, blah blah blah. Seitan gets in it, and the very first thing we see as his gear is in its fighting pose. Is Seitan just go, "Oh, a wild stallion, eh?" And then he's fine. Just totally cool with it.
He probably only did that to make everyone else feel better. He's like, oh man, everyone's looking. I'm like, oh God, I'm glad I finally wrangled this one, huh? That was quite a workout. And he's just,
he's like, whoo.
He's doing the thing where he like covers his eyes and mouth, like, oh my God, this is what gave them so much trouble.
Yeah. He's like, why am I helping these people?
Lambs.
Yeah. Freaking lambs.
So anyway, the attack's going on, and and they seem to be fighting them off okay with Seitan's help.
Yeah. Bart and Seitan handle it okay up until the last gear.
Yep, and the big boy comes in, and this is a problem. Yeah.
This is one of those ones that doesn't want to go down.
They don't know what they're going to do about the big boy.
Yeah.
But thankfully, he finally comes through.
Yeah, our boy Faye.
Faye finally comes through. He finally realizes that he's going to die with everyone else.
Yeah. And he needs to help his friends, at least in this moment.
Yeah, and help who he is very much keeping at an arm's distance as an acquaintance. He rocks the guy.
Yeah.
They escape.
Yeah, they
None
all
of them
just
die.
leave. Yeah, they bail because
they have character portraits. They're coming back.
Yeah. Easily.
So Bart's like, thanks so much, man, and Faye is still like,
yeah, Faye's
don't
like,
get any ideas.
Man, he's like, I'm not. He's like,
And this is where we see Bart. Sigurd leads Faye to Bart, and he's like,
eavesdrop on frickin' Bart. Yeah.
Bart's talking to his dead father, promising that he's going to do well, and Bart is talking to his dead father about Faye.
Yeah,
he's talking
about his new bro Faye and how Faye's his best bro now, but like he doesn't think Faye likes him and won't fight with him, but they're best bros still.
Because of course, what kind of friend wouldn't immediately join your crusade?
Mm-hmm. But it's a really good scene though.
It really is.
Like
yeah.
Like what I was just saying, that's kind of how I felt as a kid. It's like, you're weird, Bart. You think you're your best friends. Faye hates you. You're dumb. Now looking at it, I understand why Sigurd says what he does, and he tells Faye, he's like, Bart is lonely. He does not have friends. I'm not his friend. Mason is not his friend. We can't be. Bart could never look at us that way.
Because we are,
we're his servants.
We're
his teachers. And Sigurd says something that ends up being, like, to me now, a very poignant line. And he just straight up asks Faye, he's like, would you please be the young master's friend?
Yeah, it's not, will you please help him?
Yeah,
it's not, will you please join the fight? It's, will you please be his friend? Because he doesn't have that. He doesn't have anyone to connect to. He's lonely.
It's lonely at the top.
Much like Faye.
Yeah.
And it's, and so this, we almost immediately get this picture of this character that had this cool, brash exterior. The coolest character in the game.
Yes.
When you're kids, Bart's just the coolest guy in the game. Everyone wants to be like Bart. But we also get that this is something that Bart does almost like a defense mechanism.
Yes. It's a show he puts on.
It's a show he puts on, and this is where...
It's because he knows he has to be strong for everyone else.
Yes, and that is a burden that is very, as an adult and as a father now, that is a burden I very much relate to.
Yeah.
It kind of hit me pretty hard the last time I played this game, because it's...
Because the last time you played it was the first time you played it since you had kids, right?
Yes, that was the first time I'd played it since I had kids, and that's a really harsh, and that's a really hard thing to do, because I'm not a very calm person. I'm kind of a panicky person. And that's something I've had to watch around my kids, because kids, like, if dad's if dad's worried, it's the end of the world.
Yeah, if you worry, they freak out. If you freak out, it...
Yeah. And so that was something that kind of hit me the last time I played, and also just the idea of Bart being completely alone.
Yeah.
So when they ask, "Will you be his friend?" Because as a kid, I thought that was weird.
Yeah,
As a kid, it's like
it felt like such a weird way of going about it.
yeah, and because as a kid, you're just thinking about their goal.
Yeah.
You're thinking about how does it help him rescue Margie?
Yeah.
To make a friend.
Yeah.
Come on, you're not really seeing the big picture.
And it's like, aren't we already friends? We talk in a game. We are obviously friends now.
He's in the party.
Yeah.
Bro. He's in. So
I've equipped gear on him. He's my friend.
he follows my sprite when I run around.
Literally too, which is so cool in that game.
I do like that was the first JRPG I played like that. I didn't realize that other JRPGs were like that, so it kind of freaked me out when I saw it later.
Yeah, that was my
I
first
was like, they're
one.
copying Xenogears, despite this game coming out before Xenogears. So anyway, Faye is like, fine, fine, I'll be his friend.
Yeah, he's like, y'all think about it.
Yeah.
And then they a little bit later they go in, they start to get on the ship, and Faye and Bart start talking on top of the Yggdrasil, and Faye
Bart is kind of like, it's okay, dude.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, Faye. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good because Bart, he's like Faye, I understand now. He's like, I get it. You don't want to fight. You don't want to do this. I could really use your help, dude.
I think Satan even told him what had happened at Lahan.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. But yeah, Bart's just like, I could use your help, man. But if you don't want to, that's cool, dude. Like you're good. And Faye, he also has his kind of turn point. He's like, I'll help you, Bart. Like I got your back.
And it's important to note that Bart really was like, I'm sorry for giving you a hard time. It's completely cool. I understand. He really was like,
He
wasn't
sucks at it.
It wasn't a. It really, because the feeling I got when I was a kid was it's not for everybody, man.
Yeah.
Some got it, some don't.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah.
No
And
big
like,
deal.
and
you
then
know, I'll ask a dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll ask a dude.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll go ask a real bro.
I'll go ask a real man if he wants to come with me. It's not like that at all.
No.
That's the feeling you get when you're a kid, but as an adult, when you're reading it, it's
and you can pick up the subtext.
And Bart, because it's Bart releasing Faye from this responsibility he tried to thrust upon him.
Yeah.
While at the same time being like, this really blows.
Yeah.
This really blows that you're not gonna have. Like,
yeah. He's clearly approaching it less as a, like, you've got to help me because you're strong, and more as a, like, what you would really do and just be asking for the help.
Right.
My favorite thing though is that this is another one of those scenes where we see that Bart is literally incapable of saying the words "I'm sorry," and everyone, like Sigurd, even comments on it. He's like, "Yeah, he cannot. He does not. He can't do it. He sucks at that."
Because of course he does.
Yeah. So instead, he just turns around and is like, "Forgive me, will you?" Like almost commanding you to forgive. It's like, dude, come on.
It would be in the part of the anime where it would just be a square shot of him walking away, and he stops for a moment, looks over his shoulder, and smiles and says, "Forgive me, will ya?"
Yeah.
And then it would just zoom in on Faye's face with his eyes all wide, and you know.
Yeah, it's so funny though. Bart's just too cool to say I'm sorry.
And it's that the whole it's just a very anime scene.
Yeah.
Before I knew what anime was.
It's very much you're in any like shoujin or anything like that where your two main rival dudes, or at least the one character who wants to be the rival of the main character, even though the main character could not care less.
Yeah, Bart's definitely a Yamcha or a Joey Wheeler. He is not a Vegeta.
Yeah, and then like they finally have this like heart to heart and actually become bros.
Actually, more like a Piccolo. No, because Bart never wanted to kill him.
Yeah, I would still go Yamcha. I think Yamcha's a great
Yamcha's
example.
a great, in every sense of the word.
Yeah,
in every sense of it.
Because
like
with Yamcha and Goku, it's just their. He
was originally a thief trying to rob Goku.
Yeah, their goals just misaligned.
He wanted to beat Goku until that's one of my favorite things about Yamcha's character is there was a moment at the World Tournament where he was just like, "There's no way."
Yeah.
There's no way. He's beyond me.
Yeah.
Like, I love that about... Because Tien, almost to the Cell Saga, was like, I'll beat you one day, Go. And, like, we finally get to the Cell Saga, and he's like, you know what?
He's like, this sucks. Like, that's one thing, like, total sidetrack real quick. One of the reasons I love Yamcha so much is because he woke up one day, and he was like, this just ain't for me now.
Do you know how much money I can make playing baseball?
Yeah. He remembered his roots back when he just wanted to make money. And he's like, I'm going to go play baseball. I mean, I'm the second strongest human being on this planet. I could dominate baseball.
I love it. So, anyway, phase in. Now we're going to have a meeting. And we're going to wrap up after we discuss this meeting.
Yeah.
But basically, you meet in the war room. The base has a war room. And Bart's like, look, they know where we are. They launch an attack. We know that Gebler works with Ava.
Yeah.
We need to get her now.
Yeah.
We need to get her now. She's probably in more danger than she was.
Yeah.
I don't think Shakan has the guts to just kill the Holy Mother of Nissan.
But we can't risk it.
But I do know that Shakan can get, like basically what I take from it, they don't expressly say this, but what I take from it as an adult playing, because when I'm a kid, I'm just like, oh, cool, we're going to go rescue Margie. And I just didn't listen to everything else. Like, I read the dialogue, but it didn't really sink with me.
in, yeah.
But as an adult, what I kind of took from it was, okay, like, they made a move on us. I don't think they're gutsy enough to make a move on Margie. I don't think they'll kill the Holy Mother of Nissan. But I do know that he might hurt her. He might coerce her. And, like, he's getting desperate to get Nissan to, like, accept him as the king of Ava.
That, and as we learn, there's a specific things he thinks Margie has that he wants from her.
Correct. I don't think Bart's mentioned that yet.
No.
But
I don't think they've outright said it yet at all. No. They do. They do. They don't say what it is. They just name it. It's the Fatima Jasper.
The Fatima Jasper.
Yeah.
Bart's last name is Fatima.
Yeah.
It is a royal heirloom, and the Holy Mother of Nissan is always related to the king of Ava.
And she's supposed to have half of it.
She's supposed to have half of it. Bart's supposed to have half of it.
Yeah.
So now the game's cooking, and the game, what I noticed as a child and what I noticed as an adult, this didn't change between my experiences. One thing I noticed, the game finally has a plot.
Yeah.
The game finally has a plot. It finally has it's always had a plot, but the game finally has a goal in mind.
Like a straightforward, this is your goal, you go here, do thing.
We have got to help Bart
save his cousin.
His stuff.
Yeah.
Faye is still the main character, but it's Bart's story we're following, and this is good enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm ready to take this ride. And they come up with their plan, and they go over the plan. The details of the plan aren't really important for what we're talking about here.
Yeah, because they don't even really figure out the rest of it until later on. They're just like, we're going to get in there.
Bart knows a way into the castle that he believes is undisturbed.
No, not yet.
Are you sure?
Not yet.
The
I'm
sewers.
pretty sure he doesn't learn that until they talk to the nun in the castle.
That's right. They got to get to town. They got to get to town.
Right now, their goal is to get into the
Faye
city
and Bart are going to go into the
reconnaissance.
city. There's a festival going on. They think it could be incognito.
Yeah. They just want to reconnaissance it right now.
They're going to go in and do some reconnaissance. And guys, we're going to do some reconnaissance and find out more about what we're going to talk about next week. I believe, Aaron, the footage you've captured ends about right here, right?
Yeah, right around this area. And then the next episode of footage and where we talk will pick up actually within the town, the capital, as they start to figure out what the hell they're even going to do.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. We have a link to our Discord in the comments.
Yep,
that is the most
join
important
it.
thing I want to impart to you. Please join the Discord. We are much like Bart, desperate for friends, because Aaron is not my friend.
No,
we can't be friends.
We sound like we're friends.
But secretly, I hate him and have been desperate my entire life.
And I've hated him ever since he got a Dragon Zord for his birthday as a child.
It's been a long time. So join the Discord. There is a link to our Patreon. That's, Patreon is how people like us keep the lights on in these operations. We have day jobs. We work, night jobs for me and Aaron specifically.
Yeah.
But so Patreon, that goes all into our funding this operation here. We are not using Patreon to buy video games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the most important thing I want to impart to you guys is, just be safe and don't get any strange gears. We'll see you next week.
Later, guys.